praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Bashem HaKakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone to rule and teach well. Peace of salutation to the elect 144 first fruit. Got a quick article here, just a quick update on the MOTB. There's a lot of setups. We've seen a lot of setups this year. We're inching closer to this thing becoming mandatory. We see this 3i Atlas. Let me look that up real quick. 3i at. Yeah, let's do that. 3i Atlas update. Let's do this real quick. It says a gigantic interstellar 3i Atlas comet accelerates and turns blue near sun, scientists say. All right, let's go back. Let's see. The reason I'm bringing out this 3i Atlas is because Esau's going to try to do something. He's going to try to fool the masses, which he's going to fool a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? And because a lot of people just don't believe, just straight up. They just don't. They don't believe. Now the scriptures say not to be ignorant of Satan's devices, which we're gonna get, which is in Corinthians, 2 Corinthians 2:11, really quickly. It says, lest Satan take advantage of us. We are not ignorant of his devices. So let's get this word. I hope this is advantage.
Strong's G 4122. Pleonecteo. Pleonecteo.
Yep, this is advantage. Pleonecteo. Almost sounds like a plan. It says to have more, greater part, or share, to be superior, excel, surpass. And who does Esau ultimately want to surpass? Us Israelites. That's what he wants to do. That's why he wants an advantage. All right. If you look at warfare, any type of, let me say this, people who are into sports should have some sense of how warfare operates. Even if you haven't served in the military or done any military activity, because it's a chess game. It really is. Most people overlook that part, especially when, oh, God bless our veterans and our troops overseas. They only look at the physical aspect of things. They never look at how things got escalated to get to that point. I'm going to make another point here and then I'm going to get back to this. But sometimes you hear people, well, I'm speaking for myself. You hear people say, oh man, you have to get you a tool. Just get you a GUN or something like that. Just to protect yourself. He's like, that's the only way. And that's actually false. Okay? If you want to go get you one, do it legally, but I'm not pushing it like that. But do it legally. But just know that's not the tool, that's not the first line of defense that you're going to be using. Your first line of defense is de-escalation. Simple and plain as that. So when you look at world affairs geopolitically and it starts getting into a conflict, things couldn't be de-escalated properly. Your first line of defense is your tongue. Real talk. Tongues bring a lot of wickedness onto the earth, but it can bring a lot of good as well if it's used correctly. That's why the scriptures tell us to bridle our, bridle your mouth. I think it says that in the book of James, the second chapter, I want to say. Also in the book of James, it talks about how fierce the tongue is as well. It tells us in the scripture to be wise, and a wise man just simply keeps his mouth shut, and if you do have something to say it pretty swiftly and articulate your point so it can, people can understand what you're saying. You see what I'm saying? So with that being said, going back to 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get an advantage, which we just read is pretty much one up on the score, you know, or getting more. All right, we're in this spiritual warfare. He's doing anything to get an advantage up, one up against us, to have a better opportunity to get a decisive victory. But we understand through the scriptures that's not going to happen. We will always have the one up on Esau, no matter what he does. And the biggest one up is we already know what you're about to do. So that's why I said if you're into sports, you should understand some type of form of warfare. The physical aspect's going to come later. That's why the scriptures say, you know, the Lord teaches my hands to war. There's some bros who never gotten, I'm not, again, I can only speak for myself, but I can't say that for myself. I've been in fights, but there's some individuals who may not have even been in a fist fight before. You know what I'm saying? Nothing, but the Lord is going to, like a twinkling of an eye, download that type of energy into your spirit. You got to watch the movie Matrix. When Neo woke up, he didn't know how to fucking do anything. He didn't know how to fight. Didn't know they put him back on the seat and they downloaded all that kung fu and all that stuff into his system, and it teached his hands how to war. All right. So like I said, one more time, if you're into sports, you should understand at least, not necessarily be into. You should understand warfare to an extent, how it gets escalated to there, how you get advantages. If you play chess, which me personally I don't, but I know a few brothers in here in Atlanta can't play chess. One brother I do know for sure off the rip, Zakaria, the officer Zakaria in Atlanta, he plays chess, and you gotta understand your advantages and how to get advantage, because in chess you gotta know 2, 3, 4 moves ahead before you make your move. Okay, if I do this move, he's gonna do this, or that. What's the best option? And especially when you playing like speed chess, you gotta go watch this dude. I think his name is like Magnus, something like that. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah. This guy, Magnus Carlsen. This dude is he's really good. Go watch this dude play chess on YouTube. He be cooking people. I think he's kind of on a decline right now. I'm not sure, but he's been running the game for years when it comes to chess. And this dude just be cooking people. And he plays speed chess. So you have to understand your moves and calculate your moves, because the next person is gonna do it too. When you have a timer, you and you have to stop your time and then make your move. Make your move, stop your time. Make your move, stop your time. Until you actually win the duel, you could say. But pretty much chess is a form of warfare as well. But you got to understand the pieces that you're using. That's why Esau wants to get so much advantage of us, because he understands that the Lord has pieces here on the planet Earth that can destroy Esau. A fire is going to be kindled before the Lord cracks the skies. The whole revenge or the avenging is not going to take place, but best believe we going to burn some embers here and there. But when Yahushua cracks the sky, he's going to get the ultimate avenging, and then we're going to take place in that as well. So let's go back really quickly. It says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So that takes me back to this article. It says, medicine shortages strike again. Can RFID help? Now we understand through the apostles and elders, starting from Apostle Tahar, have been pushing that the MOTB is going to have the RFID implemented in there, and that's something that's going to be put inside of you. Okay, if you choose to take it. I pray to the Lord that I don't take that, because we don't know. The Lord, you got to put a spirit on you to rebel this shit. All right. So I'm going to read this a little briefly here. It says medicine shortages in the UK and Europe have made news headlines in recent weeks. A report identified fragile supply chains as one cause with 136 medicines listed in short supply. Give me 1 second, Babakasha. Okay. Um, it also, Salaki, says data from January 2024 shows that 19 countries in the European Economic Area, EEA, experienced shortages of winter antibiotics, with 11 recording critical shortages. All right. So let's skip down what a RFID is. So radio frequency identification technology, RFID, is has emerged as a key tool to address many of these issues. Now, there's a point that's about to be made. It says, thanks to its rapid, accurate data capture and track and trace capabilities for manufacturing and supply chain operations. These solutions can be enable assets visibility through real-time tracking and tracing of work in progress. Do you see what I'm saying there? Tracking and tracing, accurate data capture. These are the things that they're going to use on you people, okay? The general mass public. They're going to track and get accurate data, what you're spending, what you're looking at, what you're subscribing to, where you're going, what places you like to go to, what places you like to shop out, where do you grocery shop, how much money do you make, how much money do you spend, what's your debt to income ratio, you know, what's your daily commute, what is your routine, and that's all going to be tracked when this RFID system comes out. And that's another reason why I bring up this 3i Atlas, is because Esau is probably going to play this, you know, um, alien invasion thing, and then everyone's going to get scared, and he's going to use that as a tactic. That's why I bring out we're not ignorant of his devices, okay? Because we don't know when the Lord's coming back. We know it's soon, but we don't know the day nor hour when this thing's going to pop off. And Esau is making predictions like it's going to happen November at 8:30 p.m. Like, all right, bro. You know, you don't know. All right, so this is Revelation 13, and I'm probably going to close it out on this. Revelation 13 and 16, it says, and he causeth both all, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark. That's the tracking and tracing right there. All right, it says, and no man might buy or sell. Okay, why can't you buy or sell? Because they have to track what you're doing. We have to know what you're buying, and we have to know what you're selling. It says, save he that had the mark. Exactly. So if you get that thing, they're going to be able to do data tracking on you, tracing, everything that is saying here. They're just setting it up and, you know, coming out with, oh, medicine shortage. That's why we need the RFID to track these things. Okay. And most medicine, it goes to people, all right, patients and things of that nature. So they're gonna have to track where the medicine is going, who's receiving it, who's ingesting it, who's getting um, pricked by it. All right, which is pretty much like the wisdom of the next verse here. It says, say that he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Exactly. So you can't do anything with that C-hip once it gets implanted with you. But that's just some update there for what's going on, because that's one of the prophecies that we're waiting on to really pop this whole thing off, man. And it's here, but it needs to be pushed a little bit more. You know, people kind of know about it. I did a lesson not too long ago with this dude in Ireland, I think, and he was breaking down what the MOTB was. I think he was a Jake, and then it was about that digital ID that's happening over there in Europe, and you can't work if you don't have that digital ID. It's just all set up. Now the medicine or a shortage all of a sudden. Now we have to use RFID technology. So we'll see what comes of this. Lord willing, this was edifying. I want to give all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Chakodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, the great millstone who will teach well. Peace, love, salutation to the elect 144 first fruit. Until the next time, we'll say shalom and like always repent. For Yahweh Shai is coming back sooner than what me and you believe. All right, shalom.